chickens, ducks. Hi, welcome to Miss Annette's Little Farm in the big city. Thanks for stopping by. I'm outside. It's again, of course I am. Where else would I be, right? Okay. We're outside. The chickens and the ducks are running around grazing, and it gave me an idea. And I thought today maybe we could talk a little bit about the differences between ducks and chickens. And one of the things I would like to suggest to you, if you're thinking about getting animals for your farmstead, homestead, backyard garden, is that you go ahead and check with your local animal sanctuary. There are a lot of animals out there looking for homes because there are a lot of people that go into this thinking that this is going to be exactly what they need in their life. And once they get it into their lives, they realize this is not what I expected. And they have to back out of it. And those animals are all looking for a home. Here on the little farm, we've had chickens and ducks for quite a while. We've had chickens, of course, longer than we've had ducks. We've had chickens for probably about 10 years. We've had ducks for about 2. Now, there are a lot of differences between these animals, even though they're both birds. Some of the difference between the ducks and the chickens are so significant that I honestly will favor one over the other, and for different reasons. As far as the eggs, I prefer the chicken eggs to the duck eggs. I just do. So that's one of the differences. The duck eggs just taste a little eggier, and they're a little thicker and richer. So I do appreciate the chicken eggs a lot more. Now there are other differences as far as their personalities, differences as far as how they graze and where I can keep them and where I can't keep them. If I were to leave the chickens out all the time, they would have everything destroyed. They would completely destroy my flower beds, my garden, because chickens, when they are foraging for food, they have little claws and they will scratch to dig things up. Ducks, when they forage, they use their bill and forage under. So they don't really disturb anything. They don't tear anything up. They just kind of forage underneath. The ducks and the chickens are both beneficial in keeping insect population down and pests down, and a lot of the times I'll put the ducks in the garden. The biggest difference that I see between the ducks and the chickens is that the chickens require very little maintenance. If I get them fresh water and food, they pretty much can just no problem. The ducks require a little bit more because of the water situation. They need to have fresh water to be able to swallow their food. And whenever they see water, they make a mess out of it, because their bills are dirty from digging in the stuff, so that the water just gets completely filthy. I have to continually come out here and clean the water for the ducks because of the ducks. And there's no real water source out here. During the summer, I have a hose that goes all the way from the water spigot down to the paddocks, and that's always helpful. But in the wintertime, it's kind of a pain in the, you know? And that's the big difference. Another big difference between the chickens and the ducks is their personalities. Chickens are very, very cliquish. You know, if you're not part of their group, they will let you know that they want you to be part of that you are not part of their group. And they have here on the little farm, we have little chicken cliques here and there, which chickens run around together and which ones don't. I know that Miss B and Oreo are good friends, and I know that Chicken Little, she is an outcast. She's a poor little thing. Nobody really cares for her. And then Selena and Bubbles, they kind of hang out together. And then the Easter eggers. The Easter eggers are the older ones. That's Guadalupe, Lupita, and Ashley they're pretty old, and they hang out together. So they have all their little cliques. And then some of the chickens, their personalities are very mean girlish. Very mean girlish. I'll tell you, Goldie, she is not a nice chicken. She doesn't want to be messed with. She doesn't want to mess with anybody else or any other chickens or anybody else in the barnyard. She's a mean girl. And Chicken Little is scared and always, the sky is falling. I mean, she's always making a lot of noise. So they have a lot of personality. But the ducks have very distinct, different personalities. It's really interesting. Cotton, our white duck, is constantly talking. She's constantly talking. She wants everybody to know what her business is. She's always talking. And if she's unhappy, she lets you know about it too. Gracie, on the other hand, is very quiet and makes very quiet little noises. She's just so sweet. And Gracie doesn't mind being carried and held and petted. She actually likes it. Cotton, on the other hand, does not care for it and fusses and will not be very charming at all when the kids come and we try to have them pet her. Now, as far as the chickens go, Miss B is the chicken that I run to, or the Easter eggers are the ones that really have a lot of personality and are very sweet and like people to pet them and carry them around. Now the ducks get along with everybody. They don't care. I mean, I've never seen the ducks try to hurt a chicken or go after a goat. I've seen the chickens go after other chickens and go after the ducks and go after the goats. Actually, the ducks really like the goats, and I have seen them, you know, when it's a nice sunny day, lay around in the paddocks together. So it's just really adorable. We feed our birds the same bird feed that we get at the Tractor Supply. Now, I have noticed though that when I put grit and some oats, or sometimes I put some, scratch in the food, the ducks don't really care for that bigger piece, the bigger food. They like that small stuff. So for some reason, they just don't eat it. But the chickens really like it. So sometimes I supplement the food with that. I put some grit in there, I put scratch in there, and oats in there, and the chickens will eat it. The ducks, not so much. They kind of pick around it. Now, I do feed my birds their own eggs. I know, sounds creepy, but sometimes when you let your animals out, like I have them out right now, they will lay an egg somewhere that I didn't see them lay it, and I didn't pick it up right away, and I find it later at a later time. Now, I have no idea how old that egg is and how fresh it is or anything about it. So usually those eggs get either scrambled or I just plop it into the paddock and the birds eat it. It's good for them. Some people don't like to do that because they're afraid they'll develop bad habits, and some, I've heard, chickens do develop that taste for the eggs, and then they'll see the eggs and eat them. So far, we've had really good luck with that. You know, we haven't had any rogue chickens trying to eat the eggs that I know are fresh. But I do feed them their eggs. And I've noticed a difference that when I feed the eggs to them, that the ducks are not really very interested in it, but the chickens are. So that's a difference there here on the little farm. I mean, you may say, hey, my chickens do this, my chickens do that. I know, you know, this is just what's happening here on the little farm. This is how, these are my observations of what's going on with the chickens. When we first got our chickens, or when we first got our ducks, the differences between raising them was pretty significant. The brooder time for the chickens and the ducks was a little bit different because the chickens took a little bit longer to get more, you know, grow and be more mature than the ducks, which was really interesting. That was very interesting. That's a big, interesting difference that I found with those animals. Let's see, I'm trying to think. I'd written some notes. Both animals require about the same amount of space. I think ducks require just a little bit more, but at bedtime, the space for the chickens, we can put more chickens because they sleep up and the ducks sleep down. So the bedtime space for the ducks is a little bit more. But we've accommodated everybody pretty well. And I think we have a pretty good flow of things here. Well, I think that about does it. I think, and you know, I know that I am probably going to think of a million more things to talk about or tell you about chickens and ducks after I edit this video or during editing of this video, so we'll see. This is Miss B, by the way. She has been adopted. We adopted her, and she has been a wonderful addition to the little farm. Haven't you, Miss B? Yes, you are. Yes, you are. But, that's about all I can think of today. If you have any questions, please hit me up in the comments below and ask them, and I'll be happy to try to answer them as best as I can. We are going out to lunch today, so we're going to go ahead and get put away in the paddocks. And thank you. Thank you so much for stopping by and visiting with us. We really appreciate it. Try to get outside today if you can, all right? Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. And we'll see you next time.